Villagers, thank you for your love and support. I appreciate you all. Has NATO abandoned the United States of America? This is not our war. Those are the heavy words coming out of Berlin today. While the United States of America is calling for its allies to jump into the fire in the Middle East, Germany has just drawn a line in the sand. Today, we are breaking down why the German Foreign Minister, Johann von der Poel, has officially rejected the U.S. demand for military help. And more importantly, the massive lesson this holds for every African sitting down and waiting for someone else to save them. The U.S. has been pressuring NATO allies to send warships to the Strait of Hormuz to confront Iran. But today, March 16, 2026, Germany said, enough. Foreign Minister Jan van der Poel stated clearly that NATO is for defending territories and not for fighting Americans' wars in the Middle East. Even the German Defense Minister, Boris Pistorius, was blunt, asking, what does the U.S. expect from a few European ships that their own mighty navy cannot handle alone? Germany is putting its own interests first. They are refusing to be a foot soldier for another superpower's agenda. Now, why should this matter to us in Africa? Listen closely. If Germany, a country with a massive economic and seat at the world's top table, can look at their biggest ally and say, quote, we are not coming to help you, then why are some of us in Africa still sitting down depending on these same people?
What does the world expect? What does Donald Trump expect from, let's say, one or two handfuls of European frigates to achieve there in the Strait of Hormuz what the powerful American Navy cannot manage there alone? This question arises for me. And before we make a decision outside of NATO territory, by the way, for that, both an international framework would be necessary, as well as a parliamentary mandate. I would think very carefully about that before we take this step. And I clearly see no reason whatsoever to do that. It is not our war. We did not start it. We want diplomatic solutions and a quick end.
How close are we to NATO falling apart? I truly believe we are not very close to that point. Not at all. I mean, we are currently facing a situation which we certainly did not provoke and which we don't cause in any way.
This war began without any prior consultations. We have a big responsibility, a very important responsibility for the eastern flank and the high north, as I mentioned earlier, and we stay committed to that. But we can't be anywhere on the world, and we can't be at every place to support a war which we didn't start. So it is about to find ways to solve the situation diplomatically. We are prepared to ensure safe passage through the Straits of Hormuz, utilizing diplomatic means. However, there will be no military involvement from our side. We uphold our commitments and are actively fulfilling our alliance responsibilities, especially on NATO's eastern flank and in the high north. The oil prices are surging strongly and filling his coffers. All the more reason to keep in mind that the sanctions against Russia's economy, are effective. We are against relaxing the sanctions. Russia will only enter serious peace negotiations once the price it is paying for this war becomes too high.
Our goal is to promote the well-being of people and planet, everything from supporting charities that are working on policy.
The conflict in Iran and across the Middle East is now entering its third week. So I want to take a moment to set out how we're responding to this crisis and standing up for the British people. Our priority is always the national interest. And so we have been clear and consistent in our objectives throughout this conflict. First, we will protect our people in the region. Second, while taking the necessary action to defend ourselves and our allies, we will not be drawn into the wider war.
Switzerland have refused to support the United States in a potential war against Iran. France has clearly announced that it will not send its naval fleet to the Middle East to reopen the Strait of Hormuz or to escort commercial ships through the tense waters. At the same time, Switzerland has taken a bold step of its own. The Swiss government says all flights connected to U.S. military operations that transport troops or war equipment are no longer allowed to pass through Swiss airspace. In simple terms, Washington cannot use Switzerland as a corridor for this conflict. Earlier, Donald Trump claimed with confidence that countries like the United Kingdom, Japan, South Korea, and even China would join the United States to secure the Strait of Hormuz. But so far, none of them have responded positively. Even inside the Republican Party, divisions are starting to appear, with some of Trump's own advisors urging a quick exit, warning that this war could become extremely costly and politically damaging. Meanwhile, Iran continues mocking Washington, pointing out that despite all the threats, not a single American ship has safely crossed the Strait of Hormuz.
What we see here is Donald Trump acting, as he always does, as a global chaos generator.
There is no imminent threat. There's no imminent threat. I heard President Trump say yesterday Iran was 2 weeks away from a nuclear bomb, and that's simply untrue. It's wrong. It's false. While I'm delighted to see the death of a dictator who's killed tens of thousands of his own people, and I'm glad to see Iranian missiles shot out of the sky, and I don't think that's being dragged in. I think that's the right course of action. This didn't need to happen, and it has a big opportunity cost for our other responsibilities around the world.
The question asked whether we're being dragged into a war with no clear outcomes. We're also being dragged into a war with no clear objectives. We've seen Trump say, it's regime change. Oh, no, it's not regime change. It's because of the nuclear weapons. Oh, I wiped those out in June. There are no nuclear weapons. Oh, it's because of an imminent threat. No evidence whatsoever of an imminent threat. The real reason for this attack is spectacle. That's what Trump trades in. That's what he loves. He wants to be the center of attention. He wants to be making global headlines. What we see here is Donald Trump acting, as he always does, as a global chaos generator. And the further we stand away from that, the better off we will be.
Something about this feels bigger than just a diplomatic disagreement. Here's what's happening. The United Kingdom has reportedly refused to allow the United States to use British military bases, including Diego Garcia and RAF Fairford, to launch potential strikes against Iran. That means our government can't just position bombers and refuelers on Allied soil without explicit approval. Here's the part nobody's really talking about. This isn't just about geography. It's about legal and political constraints. The UK leaders are worried a strike could violate international law, and they're pushing back against pressure from Washington. If this becomes the new norm, where even our closest allies say no to supporting offensive military plans, then what we thought of as seamless military cooperation starts to look fragile and conditional. Now, to be fair, some argue the UK is simply upholding international norms while we balance diplomacy and military readiness. But the real question is, if our allies won't let us stage operations from their soil, where does that leave our options, and how does that shape the future of U.S. strategy in the Middle East?
No one is coming to save you. Germany understands that at the end of the day, every country looks out for its own citizens first. If we in Africa keep waiting for foreign aid or foreign military intervention to solve our problems, we will be waiting forever. Germany is choosing its own safety over loyalty to a superpower. Africa must choose its own development over loyalty to foreign doors. The second lesson that we can learn from it is the power of no. Sovereignty isn't just a word, it is an action. When you depend heavily on others, you lose the ability to say no. Germany can say no because they have built their own strength. Africa must build its own industries, factories, and security so that when a foreign power asks us to do something that hurts our people, we can also say, this is not our war. Africans are too dependent on other people. And that is the reason to which people control us anyhow. People treat us anyhow. People see that they are entitled to us. So for that matter, whatever they want, we must do. Like what is currently happening in Kenya. When the world is at war, we are seeing what is happening in the Middle East. We are seeing what foreign bases are causing to other people in the world. This is no longer in history books. Yet, in the midst of this, we still have our leaders accepting foreign bases. because we believe that we must wait for other people to come and save us. Even the superpower that the whole world thought that when it comes to the United States of America, they can never run out of anything to talk of seeking help. Like they ask, look at all the heavy navy you have. If this cannot help you, is it these ships that can help you? Indirectly, they're telling the United States of America that they can be there. If they have all this power they have been boasting of, and they can't use that power to defend themselves, they have this peanuts. It's what they expect them to come and use. So that in case there's trouble, how do they defend themselves? So they have the giant whatever. They don't expect them to be calling on them to come and save them. So if these people are protecting the little that they have, you, the African, is still sitting here, bringing bases into the continent, believing in yourself that these are the people that can only come here to set us free. We need to wake up as Africans. We need to start empowering ourselves. What is happening in the world should teach us a lesson. If the other things that happen, our leaders read them in a book, what about what is happening currently in our own eyes? Do we still need other people to come and then sit us down to tell us what we need to be doing at what point in time as Africans? This is the wake-up call for us. And this is the time we need to wake up and empower ourselves and believe that there is nobody that can ever save us if we are not ready to save ourselves. United we stand, divided before, and united we keep standing forever and ever. The greatest enemy of the African is mental slavery. So let's decolonize ourselves from mental slavery. Let's keep sharing to educate our brothers and sisters. Together we make Africa great for ourselves and the next generations that are going to come. So that's the latest around the world, in Europe and in Germany.